Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Anton, and welcome to today's video for Backpack Battles. It's been a while since we've done some stuff for the YouTube channel. Mostly been holding off for actually this patch recently. So for that, look forward to some more Backpack Battles content. Gonna try doing some other variety stuff every now and again as well. But what are we here to talk about today? We're here to talk about Backpack Battles, and specifically the changes. There's a lot to go through here. First off, we have a balance patch. We have new items. You might notice the UI itself looks a little bit different as well. So, first off, let's talk about the balance changes because there is quite a lot. It is mostly buffs though, so that is nice for the people who hate nerfs and love buffs. As I said though, lots of new items. We'll go over those eventually after we look at the buffs and the nerfs and whatever. So, what do we have first? Well, as I said, a lot of stuff. As I said, though, if you don't know what these videos are like, I like to go through everything, talk about it all a little bit, how I feel like it changes things, whether it's meaningful or not, etc., what stuff I'd like to see, stuff I don't like to see, stuff like that. So, to start with, neutral items. First off, a change to the shop itself. The shop unique chance increased by 2% on every round. I don't know if I like that or not. I do like a lot of the uniques, but a lot of the uniques are pretty, I don't know, pretty powerful and can really increase the power level of a run. But if everyone has a increased unique chance, then sure, but it does lead to some more high rolls, if that makes sense, in my opinion. I also like this change. Platinum customer card, unique chance, plus 10% from 15 to 25%. Still don't really feel like Platinum customer card is worth it most of the time, but it's nice to see. I like this change, a Prismatic Sword buff, 0.1 second faster. My problem with Prismatic Sword is that it needs Prismatic Orb, a godly item, and that thing is just a little too rare to find. And Prismatic Sword is just not enough payoff compared to easier to build items, aka Hero Longsword and Falcon Blade. I think those are both easier to build, and the builds that play those swords are better. Stone Golem buff, pretty nice buff here. He is a little bit faster, half a second faster before he activates, 0.2 seconds faster before you activate, or after he activates, so that's nice. A lot of amulet buffs here. We'll go through them really quick. Amulet of Steel gives an extra, or gives it some power after you reach 45 block instead of 50. Amulet of Feasting, 5% faster, speed bonus granting stuff, yada yada, whatever. English is a hard language. I'm kind of surprised they buffed Amulet of Feasting Food Amulet. I thought it was personally good enough, but sure. Amulet of Energy gives 5% more of a refund, which is nice. I like that amulet. I think it was also fine and good enough, but sure. Amulet of Wild, spike damage limit bonus, extra 10% to 50%. Kind of like it. Did feel like a little awkward for that amulet. Amulet of Alchemy now, 0.5 seconds faster from 3 to 2.5 seconds for the second round of potion activations. I do like that. 3 seconds did feel like it took too long to be meaningful, so I'm a fan of that. Mana Potion now is giving an extra 3 health, which is... I don't think it's a bad or a good nerf or a good change, good buff, whatever. It's just weird. It's like, the potion itself is fine, in my opinion, so I don't know why it's being buffed. I think it was a fine potion, but sure, I'll take it. I don't mind. Vampiric Potion, I'd say it's a side grade. It's stealing less life from 19 to 13, but it's giving more vampirism from 1 to 2. So again, it's not really a buff, but more of a side grade. I think, personally, I look at it as more of a buff than a nerf, but it's really just a side grade. Thornbloom buff here. I think Thornbloom is very close to being a good item. Its big problem is a similar problem to Excalibur. It kind of needs a rare-ish item to find. Needs the potion just like Excalibur, and that is a legendary item. But, you know, uses 0.1 less stamina, and it is 0.1 second faster, so that is great. Holy Spear buff here, 4 mana cheaper. That's great. The devs, I believe, have gone on record saying they kind of like to see Holy Spear as a secondary utility weapon alongside your main weapon. Personally, though, in builds that want to be using a secondary utility weapon, I find there are better weapons to use than Holy Spear. Blood Harvester, 0.4 from 0.5 stamina usage. Pretty nice. Lots of unique item changes here. Villain Sword's a little bit cheaper at 8 gold now instead of 9. My biggest problem with Villain Sword is it just doesn't scale as hard as other builds. Crossblades, 4% speed increase instead of 3% now, which is kind of nice. It always feels like Crossblades has kind of just fallen to the wayside, and most people are just like fine with Falcon Blade and Hero Longsword by itself. Fanfare from 4 seconds to 3.8 seconds. That's the trumpet. That item has always been awkward to me, so I kind of like seeing the the buff. A lot of armor changes here. Holy Armor, Moon Armor, and Corrupted Armor are all 0.2 seconds faster, as is Vampiric Armor. So Vampiric Armor is now 2.8 seconds between every activation. The other armor's 2.6 seconds. I like it. I think all of these armors are already fine and strong as it is. I feel like they're buffing these because, in my personal opinion, a lot of the time when you're building armor, you usually just get leather armor. And that's it. If you want to get tanky, you get stone armor. But usually you just want to pick up leather armor to activate things like stone skin potions. So I kind of like this. Feels nice. On the armor side of things too, Gloves of Power now gives you a little extra block. That's kind of nice. Ruby Whelp is a little bit faster. Ice Dragon's a little bit faster. And Excalibur now has the magic type, which is, I guess that's nice for Prismatic Orb stuff and a few other things. So that's kind of nice. Also, a lot of badge buffs here. I really like these. Leaf Badge, 0.2 seconds faster. Skull Badge, 0.2 seconds faster. Wolf Badge gives you an extra half second of Battle Rage. And Flame Badge, now 15% higher chance to get that flame. And it gives you 5 heat instead of 4 heat. I really like these buffs here. Outside of Stone Badge and Rainbow Badge, basically the class badges, my biggest problem with them was, even if they were on sale for 3 gold, they felt really bad. Like, especially if you bought them for full price at 5 gold, it always felt like if you were buying these early, like round 1 through 3, you were basically giving up a life. 5 gold is worth a lot of gold in the early game. That's like a banana and a garlic. And if you've played the game for even a little bit, you know just how much difference a single banana, just even one banana, can make. So I do like them buffing this to make it so it doesn't feel like an auto loss when you pick up a badge early. So good job, devs. Thank you. Next up, we got Pyromancer here. First off, they're doing a bug fix, which I guess you could take as a nerf, but apparently Molten Dagger was giving bonus damage even if it missed, so that's nice that they're fixing that bug. Everything else, though, is a buff. Friendly Fire is 0.2 seconds faster, which is honestly fine. Friendly Fire is the definite worst of the subclass items. I guess you could argue the dragons are probably the second worst, or maybe worse than Friendly Fire, but they're also buffing all of the whelps too. Emerald Whelp, Sapphire Whelp, Amethyst Whelp, and Obsidian Dragon are all 0.1 second faster, which is great. I don't think this is going to make Friendly Fire or Dragons good enough for Pyromancer. I still think Banners, Lanterns, and what is their other class item? Banner, Lantern, and Cryo are all better in my opinion. Next up, we got Ranger. Big Bowl of Treats now has 4 more star tiles, and Yggdrasil Leaf now has magic type. Neither of these changes, in my opinion, are really that big. Sure, Big Bowl of Treats getting 4 extra stars means you can potentially add more stars around it to make it a little faster, but basically I'm looking at it as more of a convenience thing to make it just easier to get your stars, get some stars active, so that's nice. Yggdrasil Leaf being magic is whatever kind of thing for me, but sure, whatever. I mean, like, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it being magic now. And the only nerfs for the patch, well, only class-based nerfs. Reaper. Sadly, Reaper ate some nerfs here. Some of these are kind of deserved in my opinion. Snake, maximum health per pet from 60 to 55. Ruby Chonk from 2 seconds to 2.1 seconds. Snake, I mean, yeah, I get it. It did give a lot of health per, like, frog that you had. And, you know, starting round 8 with an extra, say, 120 health was a big boost, but kind of upsetting that they nerfed Snake when Snake itself is only really good in like one build. It's not that good in poison. It's really only good in Snake Rapier frog builds. The Chonk build, the Chonk nerf feels definitely deserved. I don't like seeing it as a Reaper player myself, but it definitely is deserved. Pretty much every single good Reaper build loved Chonk. Chonk was just and still is a really good item. Between the stuns, heat is a great mechanic, not using stamina to, doing damage, having 2 gem slots. Chonk is just a great item, so honestly, the small nerf, it is a small nerf. It is deserved, understandable, I guess. And then there's just a bunch of visual bug fixes here, and a few other visual changes here. Stuff like, Mega Clover now has particles. Phoenix now has a visual for when it's used its reincarnation. Just some small stuff like that. So that's the balance changes. Now, we got a few more things to talk about. Basically, the new items. Now, as I was saying, there is this new UI here. You now get to choose a loadout. So the loadout is basically your starting item. So, we got the classic Reaper here. She starts with her coffin, her 2x2 bag, and a mushroom. That's it. But if you choose her other loadout, her secondary loadout, she starts with a different bag and different items. And this is true for all of the classes. We'll go through all of them. Don't worry. And then the third one, the third bag, this is not unique to Reaper. This is for everyone. It is the Sack of Surprises. Game starts, replace this with random starting bags and items. Basically, it is a give me random bags to start with. You will still start with one of the 2 class bags, but the items you start with will be random. I think there's probably like some gold, there's probably something behind it where it's like it can't give you certain items above a certain amount of gold or rarity or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty nice. A little nice random button. And of course, you have this dice here. Clicking the dice, your class and loadout will be randomly chosen. So it just basically gives you a sack of surprises, but it also chooses a random class, which is pretty great. You also get a very special star here for choosing that. You get the Star of Courage. Chance to find unique items plus 5%. Your weapons use 5% less stamina. Rewarded for starting as a random character. Only sells for 1 gold too, because the devs realize, like, hey, let's not make that mistake and make it cost a lot of money. Now let's go through all of the new bags really quick and all of the starting items in them. First off, we have Reaper. Coffin was a terrible bag, so in all honesty, it's not hard to beat Coffin, but her new bag, the Relic Case, is a really good bag. Look at this. It's a little awkward with its size. It's basically a potion belt, but every 2.2 seconds, weapons inside deal plus 5% damage and use 5% less stamina. So this is actually a pretty good item in the late game and gives her a little bit of scaling that actually matters compared to, say, Poison, where like Coffin doesn't really do much in the late game. Not to mention, the starting items, Wooden Sword and Garlic, is so much better than a single mushroom. First off, it's worth way, way more. This is 5 gold right here. This is 3 gold here, so you're already starting with more items. Sure, you're not getting any poison, though, but a Wooden Sword opener just opens you up to so many things. Torch openers, Shell Totem openers, etc., etc. Garlic is a lot better than Mushroom, too. Next up, we got Ranger. Ranger's new bag is the Vine Weave Basket. It says, your healing is amplified by 10%, increased by 2% per nature item inside. In round 1 and 10, sale chances increased by 10%. That last sentence, I don't really, understand why it's there. Obviously, I get what it means, but it's kind of weird. Starting items are a little awkward, too. A healing herb and a rock, which are fine. They're both nature items, so I get it. And, the herb having its healing, your regen getting buffed by the Vine Weave Basket is kind of nice. Personally, I feel like the crit bag, Ranger bag, is just better in most builds. But I think there are a couple of builds that actually like Vine Weave Basket. Next, the Pyromancer bag. I have no idea if this bag is better than the Fire Pit, but I actually think it's way more fun. The Offering Bowl. Start of battle, gain 1 in power. Okay, whatever. Shop entered, consume all items inside, and it will create a flame and different items based on the combined value. So something cute you can do is buy items that are on sale and have them get sucked up by the Offering Bowl. Starting items, by the way, are a dagger and a shell. Means like shell totem openers are kind of solid here, so I kind of like this start. The way I look at it is Offering Bowl has more chances to high roll because of that RNG aspect to it, but if you want consistency, there's Fire Pit. And for the 4th class, for Berserker, we have the Utility Pouch. Starts with a banana and a coal. Utility Pouch. Weapons inside deal plus 30% damage, but attack 30% slower. And after 5 seconds, you enter Battle Rage for 5 seconds. And during Battle Rage, you get a 25% lifesteal. So no damage reduction, which kind of sucks, but you get lifesteal instead. Now you might say, but you lose your hammer. Where's your hammer? The bag itself works as a hammer. It can only upgrade one item a turn, but if you put leather armor inside of it, it will upgrade into dragon scale armor. So don't worry about not seeing a hammer here. It doesn't say that, but trust me, that's how it works. Don't know if I like this opener, like in terms of the items. I feel like Duffel Bag is it's similar to Ranger, where Duffel Bag I feel is better generally, but Utility Pouch is good with a couple of builds. Namely, for example, Busted Blade. Sure, Busted Blade attacks a little bit slower, but dealing an extra 30% damage, you could easily one-shot a lot of people unless they have a ton of armor. So I really like this item with Busted Blade. It's also really fun killing someone at full health with your Busted Blade. And really quick, we will go through all of the new items. All of them are unique except for one of the new items, and that is Unstable Recombobulator. This thing basically sucks up a bunch of items and spits other items back out. Consume this and starred items. Create different items based on the combined value. I actually really like this. I like to use this to suck up items that I was going to sell anyway, you know, like food, garlic, maybe piggy banks, stuff like that. Maybe mid-game weapons that I would sell, like a torch, stuff like that. It seems good. It also counts itself, of course, so it is 6 gold worth of an item, so we'll spit back a 6 gold worth of an item. Quick note, it cannot suck itself up by itself. It needs to have at least one item in the stars, so just remember that. And for the other items, all uniques. First off, we have Time Dilator. Your and your opponent's weapons attack 30% slower every second. Your item with the highest cooldown triggers 5% faster. I kind of like this item. I think it's just a solid item on almost every class and almost every build, barring certain builds. Also, quick note, 1 second cooldown, pretty good for Goobert. So there's that. Next up, what do we have? Let's talk about the Artifact Stone. We got a new Artifact Stone. I don't really know what to do with this one. Like all the other Artifact Stones, it can only be thrown once per battle. On hit, inflict fatigue damage. Starred items have plus 5% crit hit chance per fatigue level of your opponent. So I don't really know, like, I've only seen this thing used like a couple of times, and they've been used on like Reaper builds. And the thing is, like, I beat both of them. So I really don't know what is meant to be used with this, but maybe someone is smarter than me and can figure out what to do with this. Next up, we have the Stable Recombobulator. Does exactly the same thing as the other Recombobulator, the epic version of it, except it doesn't destroy itself, so you can keep using it to suck items up over and over and over again. Honestly, not really a competitive item. It's also really expensive at, I believe, 12 gold, so you're probably going to lose the round you buy it. Definitely feels like a more for fun item. Next item we got Qbert. Qbert, basically another form of Goobert, but he's not really a Goobert if you look at the lore here. He has stars and a diamond, so that's fun. Starred item activates, 25% chance to gain regen. Diamond item activates, 25% chance to use a regen to gain empower. So, an interesting item. Kind of difficult to use, though, in my opinion, but a pretty solid item. And our final new item, I really like this item. I haven't played it much because, you know, unique item. We have Unsettling Presence. I never remember the name of this guy. I just call him Spooky Ghost. But deal plus 30% of your healing as damage. Every 3 seconds, use a random buff to heal for 10. Obviously, Unhealing loves this guy. Vineweave Basket stuff loves this guy. A lot of builds really like this guy. This guy is really strong if you can get him. So, yeah, that's all of the new items. I believe I might be missing one. I hope I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But yeah, that's all the new items. We also already talked about the Star of Courage, by the way, so don't call me out on that one. But yeah. And as you can see here, the new stars for Big Bowl of Treats, just, you know, the new stars are in the corners. But that will be it for today. And that is the newest changes to Backpack Battles. We have all these new bags You've got some randomness when you just don't know what to play, and some new, fun, unique items, some of which are very RNG fun to roll the dice. It's always fun to roll the dice. But yes, we will be putting up some more backpack battle videos soon in the upcoming few days. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed the video as well. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps me out and always helps out the channel. Really curious as to what you guys think about the patch. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Are there things you think should have been nerfed or buffed that didn't get nerfed or buffed? And what do you really think about the new bags? I'm still evaluating them myself, but I think they're all pretty good and pretty solid and think they all have potential. Also, if you want to keep up with the Backpack Battles content, you can also, of course, always follow the channel to keep up with it. And if you want to watch me play some more Backpack Battles, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zenington, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video. And until I see you guys in the next one, bye.